Is this the worst tent that money can buy? This tent is possibly the worst tent that you can buy. So what we're going to do is, the reason it's going to be a bit different is, as I unpack this, I'm going to tell you why. Now, I bought this tent to solve an issue. Don't own a trekking pole tent, and I wanted single pole design, and I wanted a full pyramid, not the half pyramid that you get with some tents, a bit more like you get with, say, the Lanshan one. I wanted it like a proper full pyramid. Now, Alpkit do one, and I think DD do one, but they're quite expensive. This, I think I paid about £125 for, and it looked like it was going to be superb. It's got an L-shaped inner in it, so that looked like it would really suit my needs. However, as you're going to see in this video, it doesn't meet them needs. There's a lot that it leaves to be desired. Now, I've never camped in this tent. If you'd like to see me camping it, please drop me a comment, tell me. It's definitely going to be a summer one. It has been camped in, Dylan's camped in it, and this is also why it's in this bag, because Dylan has a tendency to throw bags all over the place and never to find them again. So we'll start with that. So the bags for the tent comes in these little still nylon bag. Get two of those, you get one for the outer, one for the inner. I think it's a total weight of about 1.1 kilos, and you can use just the outer if you wanted. You can't use just the inner because of how it fastens in. So what I'll do is, even before I unbag this, I'll show you the first thing that I don't like. So, first thing that I don't like, trekking pole. Sounds a bit odd, wanted a trekking pole tent, why wouldn't I like the trekking pole? The reason being is, you have to have specific trekking poles for this tent. The tent itself, you need to go to 135 to put it up, which is quite high. And a lot of conventional trekking poles only go to 130, so you do have to buy specific ones. Also, I'd recommend when doing that, only have a singular joint, just for the strength of it. Now, that resulted in extra costs for me, and it cost me an extra £65 for the trekking poles, and I already had poles, but the ones they had, like I said, only went to 130, and they would not put this tent up. And it's actually probably about 137 that you need, but I'm clutching at straws a little bit there. So let's have a look what's in the bag. You have your pegs. Ignore these are secondary pegs that I've bought. The pegs that come with it are very skinny rubbish shepherd hooks, so they went in the bin. You have your outer, you have your separate inner. It is an outer pitch first tent, by the way. And we go on to the next thing I don't like about this tent. As you can see, I have a second outer, and the reason I have a second outer is because, as you can see, when I had the first outer, the zip on it doesn't work, and it's clearly ripped to the seams. This impacted its performance and meant I had to get another outer. However, I do have to hand it to Asta Gear. They did send me one for free. So what we'll do now is, I'll put it up, get it pegged out, and I'll talk you through the inner. Now there is one other thing I've just noticed about this tent. So as I said, I've already had a replacement inner for this tent. It's never been slept in wild, only ever once in the garden by Dylan in snow. He had it up last week, and that was purely just so we could re-seam seal it, because he wants to take it out. Now let me show you this. As you can see, there's clearly another quite substantial rip in the top of the tent. Now, I would put this down to the trekking pole, however, it has a pouch on the inside the trekking pole goes in. And where the trekking pole sat, I don't know if you can see this, where the trekking pole sat, there isn't any actual damage. There is a bit of seam sealing coming off, but there's no actual damage. I couldn't actually tell you what's caused that rip. So, take a look inside. The doors actually do roll up quite nicely. You've got just your very, very basic straps. They're quite hard to strap. It's quite a small strap on it. And the same on the other side. So there you have it, and as you can see inside, actually quite a good amount of room in it. If we was to sleep with this just as a tarp, it would probably be alright. My problem is, if I'm sleeping in this just a tarp, I'm going to sleep in just a tarp. So now that you know, this is where the big problems arise. So, fastening the in, it's a really, really good, very clever idea. It's just one clip. And literally, put your hand in, feel round, clip there, and you're in. Then you chuck. It to each side. Now, to fasten it in, it's got these big elastic loops. These actually go over your pre-existing pegs. Like so. And they fit on the inside, and that is the same on the back side, but as you can see, I actually struggle to get them to fit, but it won't go over. So as you can see, the inner is now in. Now this is where the biggest problems lie with this tent. I don't know if you can see, but it's a powerful pain in the behind to get inside. So, if we view this as me with no mat, I'm just touching on 6 foot. If I lie on my side, my feet are touching the outer. If I was to lie on my back, the whole tent is on me and moves. So as you can see, when I lie in it, the whole tent moves. If I try lying down flat, I'm touching the other side and it just flexes the entire tent. I've also noticed, and this is what I noticed when Dill slept in the snow last year, he's only about 5'10", and his feet stick out at that end, and actually you can see where his feet are bulging up, and his head is doing the same at this end. It's a very, very short tent, and the major issue with it is that inner just doesn't hold out. There isn't enough clips. Now, there is a couple of clips on the sides, but that clip is literally just holding the bottom in. It needs some in the middle. But the major issue with it is this here. It just doesn't sit triangular. It curves in, which you'd think would be great for getting the water off, but it's also not very good at that. And I look at this tent, and I've said this about tents before, but who is this for? It's only short, it's not very stable, and I get that it's not guyed out, but I've tried guying this out in wind, and these pegs have got this long, big long titanium stakes. I've had these in 50-mile-an-hour winds and they've not budged, but it won't peg this out. I've had it a year. It's never had a wild camp, and it's been up twice in my garden, and I've got 2 ripped inners, and I just don't get it. I'm not going to give you any stats on it because my recommendations are you avoid this like the plague. It's just not a good tent, and unfortunately That's something I've heard a lot about Asta Gear tents. I can't really judge because it's the young one I've had. But technically I've had 2 of these, I'm having 2 inners, and it's been utter crap. Now, if Asta Gear see this, feel free to try and prove me wrong. If any of you watching have an Asta Gear tent that you swear by, create a video, share it with me, let me come and have a look. Prove me wrong. If anybody's got one and wants to come on a camp with me, let me know. Drop me an email, we'll arrange something. Let me have a proper look. Prove to me that these can make good tents, because from what I've seen, I wouldn't have another. Anyways, catch you later.